as people that are fully human seeking a Jesus-centered way of life, that we're walking out with a Savior who was and experienced the entirety of what it meant to be human. And I think that's some of the most beautiful example of being Jesus-centeredness, is recognizing not only the lordship of Jesus and the deityship of Jesus, but the humanness of Jesus.
Jesus has to be king. That's the gospel. So we can't go by our experience alone. We can't go by our reason alone. We can't go by our culture, our tradition. The goal is transformation. The goal is not a dogma and another moral code.
I think we have to remember that, God so loved the world that he gave his begotten Son. It's not that God so loved the world that he gave us a rule book. And I think we can forget that sometimes.
I think men and women just desire, in a lot of ways, rules and things that keep us regimented because it's easier. Jesus brought a new way of life and things that are very challenging, and focusing our attention and our love and our desire towards others. It puts us out of the box and out of our comfort zone. And I think that way of life is much more challenging, but at the same time much more rewarding.
Many times we get bogged down in the legalistic aspect of what it means to follow Jesus, instead of actually taking on the question of, if Jesus were me, living my life, having my job, having the group of friends that I had, how would he live my life in that way? What does that mean for me? And I think that's a question that is essentially important to our faith.
And becoming more centered around the rule, it's almost like you've missed the real point. In the treatment of others, I've found that I can follow a rule without really caring about the people that I'm touching or affecting. And in the long run, I've ultimately missed the mark.
Being able to love people without an agenda. Loving other people and putting their needs before your own, like regarding other people as just better than yourselves, taking your eyes off yourself for a moment.
Are there people marking your life? When you're thinking about living out in the way of Jesus, Jesus was not solitary. He had his disciples. He went to the synagogue, but he also went to places where people were and where people frequented, and it was marked vividly by people. And so when you're living out in the way of Jesus, are you living out your faith alone? Is there a body or a community of people who are with you? And are you seeing change somewhere along the way, both in yourself and the people around you? And so that's the second part of being marked in the way of Jesus, is fruit. So along with people being around you and you being around people, is there fruit coming from that? Because so often we measure, am I being a Christian am I attending a Christian conference? Am I going to a Christian group? Is this a Christian barbecue? And we're not even considering, what is the fruit of my life? Is there the fruit of the Spirit out of what I'm doing?